So now that we got a pretty good idea of the story of Numa, I think we also have a good idea of where we're going to be going next in our next map or final map for Vanguard Zombies, and where that happens to be is Egypt. And we know this, of course, because of radios, and also at the end of the Easter egg, Kraft says it once again. So we're pretty confident that's where we're going to be going. But at the same time, sure, it narrows it down to one country, but it's still a whole country. So where in Egypt are we going? Well, considering that this game is Vanguard Zombies, and Vanguard Zombies so far has not really released that much original content for zombies, and most of the zombies content has been reused from campaign, multiplayer, and previous zombies games, I think that we should probably expect that trend to continue, and if it does, it actually narrows it down to a couple different things they could reuse to make the next zombies map, or this upcoming Egypt map. And I want to go through all of those three possibilities, of course being the previous zombies experience, campaign, or multiplayer map being reused for this final one. And we'll start off with the coolest idea, because it would be really cool if they did it, and then we'll kind of chill out as we go. But of course, what is this crazy idea that I want to start with? Well, as I said, that they have reused content from a previous zombies game, and what if they did it again with this one? And of course, this would mean that we look to the only other zombies map that was based in Egypt, and some people don't even realize this map was actually based in Egypt, but it was, and that is the map 9. And wouldn't it be crazy if they reuse that Egypt map 9 into this next and final map for Vanguard Zombies? I mean, that would be pretty crazy, but initially would sound not really possible, right? Because, oh, well, this is a Dark Ether story, that was chaos and all that, but then I would have to remind people and even recommend people to a video I made that is actually based off a radio that seems to connect the Dark Ether story to the chaos story, and that they may be one story. And if that is true, which it seems pretty likely at this point, that would mean the map 9 actually took place in the past of this exact same universe that we're in, meaning that at least the ruins of that arena may still be around, just sitting somewhere in Egypt. And if that's the case, what if they did that? What if they made a modern day version of 9, or the ruins of 9, and that's where the next map would take place? Like, that would be insane and so freaking cool. They'll reuse a map that a lot of people really liked, and I'm sure it would be fun for them. And then on top of that, it would kind of really tie in the chaos story. It won't no longer just be a single radio and something that looks like a Sentinel artifact. Like, it'll actually be a direct connection, because we'll see the map 9, or at least the modern day version of 9, or the ruins of 9, as our next map. And I think that would be so freaking cool. And again, this is one of those options that we could see them do something like they did with Numa. I mean, Numa was in a previous game, and then they kind of brought it over here, and they reused it multiple times in their Anfang, and then they of course made a whole map out of it with the most recent Numa Reborn. And what if they did something like that with 9? It would be really cool, and would actually tie in story wise, now that it seems that chaos is also part of the Dark Ether story. But I don't know if that's very likely. I would love to see it, but until we get some concrete evidence, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But of course, this leads us to the next possibility, and what this is the possibility that they'll just reuse something from campaign. And believe it or not, there's actually a campaign mission that's based in Egypt. And initially I thought, like, okay, we have a campaign mission that took place in Egypt, and we're going to get Egypt map. This is 100% where they're going to reuse the content from, right? But then I actually replayed the mission to kind of look around and see what they could reuse, and honestly, most of the mission is you following tanks in just a really open area, and I'm just looking around thinking, like, there's not very many opportunities to make a zombies map out of this. And then even when the map condenses a little bit from not just being an open area following tanks, some of these areas are already reused for Terra Maldicta. So would they actually reuse them again? I don't really know, honestly, but The only area that I found on the map that I could see them remaking into a zombies map or a round-based zombies map that wasn't already used by Terra Maldicta is this area you see me walking around now. And sure, it looks really nice, and it looks like they could easily, readjust different things here into a round-based map, but it's honestly not that big of an area, and you could quickly walk around it, and I don't know how exactly they would expand it too much. And maybe it could just be a situation where they reuse this part and they just make original parts around this, which is always what happens when they reuse campaign missions. But at the same time, this still does feel a little small to me. I feel like I don't know if they could really reuse too much from this campaign mission, but they just might do that. I don't really know. But I guess we have to talk about the third possibility of what they could reuse, and this of course is a multiplayer map. And there's actually two maps that I'm aware of that are actually based on Egypt that they theoretically could reuse to make the zombies map. And one of them is Oasis and the other one is Desert Siege. And I look at these maps, I try to figure out how exactly they can make them into zombies maps, and I just don't really know, honestly. Like, sure, I think that if they really reworked one or even both of these maps that they could do it, but at that point I just don't really get what would be the point of it, because like, I feel like you would have to rework these two multiplayer maps so much to turn them into a round-based map that you would just kind of like make an original map at that point. So I just don't think it's very likely. And at best, what I could see them doing is just like maybe one area of the map is reused by one of these multiplayer maps. But besides that, I really don't see too much to be reused here. But maybe I just don't have the creative mind to try to figure out how to turn one or two of these maps into a full round-based maps. Or maybe they'll do something crazy and just use some of these multiplayer maps and also the campaign mission just to shove them all together to make that final round-based map in Egypt. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about here today. Do you guys think that there's a chance that they could reuse assets from 9 and we could kind of see modern day 9, or do you think it's more likely that they'll reuse something from campaign and multiplayer? I'd love to hear those thoughts in the comment section below. Regardless though, that's going to wrap it up for me. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever the heck it may be. And laters, guys.
We will need it all for our final battle on the sands of Egypt.